You're listening to Horsemanship, Growth, and Gratitude with Miranda and Horsemanship, where we discuss training wins and fails, mindset, personal growth, and everything in between. So grab your favorite cup of coffee or reins and let's ride. Hey there, it's Miranda Allen, and welcome back to Horsemanship, Growth, and Gratitude. Today's episode started with a thought that completely changed the way I look at horsemanship. It wasn't something I learned while riding. It wasn't a new method of training. It wasn't even from someone even talking about horses. It came from a business podcast. And the more I sat with this idea, the more I realized it explained something I have seen over and over again with horses, and honestly with most aspects of my life, but it never really clicked quite like this. Today, I want to share that idea with you because I think it explains why so many of us struggle to trust ourselves, even when we're doing the right work with our horses. I haven't met anyone who says that they don't want to be a better horseman. And when you ask people what becoming a better horseman looks like, a lot of them will say something like, I just want to know what to do. I want to trust my instincts. I want to be able to read my horse and make good decisions without second guessing myself. That kind of intuition is something we all admire. We watch experienced horsemen, and it almost seems like they have a sixth sense. They know when to wait. They know when to ask for more. They know when to back off, and when something just doesn't feel right. But here's what I've come to believe. That intuition isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. And one of the biggest ways you build has very little to do with horses. It has to do with personal development. I think of personal development as a gym for your mind. Just like you wouldn't expect your muscles to get stronger without challenging them, you can't expect your confidence and intuition to grow if you never challenge your thinking. Every difficult conversation you have, even if it's with yourself, every fear you work through, every mistake you take ownership of, every uncomfortable situation you navigate instead of avoiding, you're building evidence. Evidence that says, I can handle hard things. I can make decisions. I can recover when I get it wrong. That's where self-trust comes from. And self-trust is the foundation of intuition, of that gut instinct. Because intuition isn't always magical, knowing the right answer. Sometimes it's simply having enough confidence in yourself to make a decision without constantly asking, what if I'm wrong? I was listening to the podcast recently called The Niche Is You with Matt Gottesman, and he said something that really stuck with me. He was talking about running a business, and he said that metrics have lag time. Think about that for a second. The numbers you're looking at today, sales, download, engagement, clients, they're often reflecting decisions that you have made weeks or even months ago. Because of that, you can't make every business decision based solely on today's metrics. Sometimes you have to make decisions based on your own intuition, your experience, and what you know aligns with where you're trying to go. You have to trust the process before the numbers catch up. And as I was listening, I realized horse training works the exact same way. So many of us judge our process by the final metrics. Did we get that lead change? Did we nail that stop? Do our circles look perfect? Did we finally get that maneuver we've been chasing? Those are the things we measure, but they also can be lagging indicators. They're the results of weeks, months, and sometimes even years of foundational work with our horse. When we compare where we are today to where we ultimately want to be, those metrics can feel incredibly discouraging. It can make you wonder if anything you're doing is actually working. That's where intuition becomes so important. You have to trust that the work you're doing today is creating the horse you'll have tomorrow. Maybe today's ride wasn't flashy. Maybe all you worked on was softness, relaxation, timing, or even just helping your horse understand one tiny piece of the puzzle. None of those things feel very measurable in the moment, but they matter. They're deposits into a bank account you can't cash yet. Eventually, those deposits turn into that stop, that turnaround, that lead change, that quiet confidence, that willing partner everyone notices. But if you're constantly looking for the finished results every day as proof that you're making progress, you'll probably quit before the process has had enough time to work. Sometimes your job isn't to see results. Sometimes your job is to simply just keep showing up and trust that you're building something you can't fully measure yet. That's what intuition does. It allows you to keep moving forward before the evidence is obvious. That becomes incredibly important around horses. Horses are masters at reading us. As prey animals, they have survived for 55 million years by paying attention to the smallest changes in body language, of changes of breathing, tension, timing, and intention. They don't just respond to what you're asking, they respond to how you're asking it. If we're hesitant, they will often feel that hesitation. If we're conflicted, our timing changes. We may not notice it, but they do. If we're second guessing ourselves, our bodies usually tell that story long before we even realize it. That's why two people can have the exact same exercise and get completely different results. The technique might be identical, but the confidence, clarity, and intention behind that are completely different. This is one of the reasons you'll hear so many high-level horsemen talk about working on yourself. Not because personal development is trendy, not because they're trying to turn the horsemanship into therapy, but because they understand something deeper. The horse can only trust a leader who trusts themselves. That doesn't mean you're never nervous. It doesn't mean you're perfect. And it doesn't mean you never make mistakes. It means you've done enough work on yourself that when things get hard, you don't immediately fall apart or start doubting every decision you make. You stay present, you think, and you adapt. And every time that you do that, your intuition gets a little stronger. Because intuition isn't magic. It's experience, self-awareness, emotional regulation, and self-trust all working together. So if you've been wondering why your horsemanship feels stuck, don't just ask yourself, what training exercise should I do next? Maybe ask yourself, what part of me needs to grow? Because sometimes becoming a better horseman has less to do with changing your horse and more to do with changing yourself. Thanks for tuning in to Horsemanship Growth and Gratitude with Miranda and Horsemanship. It feels so good to be back. If you've enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to follow the podcast, leave a review, and please share it with a friend who loves horses as much as we do. And while you're at it, be sure to check out my website, mirandaallen.net, that's ALLYN, to stay updated on the launch of my upcoming products, including Essentials of Horsemanship. And until next time, remember, horsemanship is in the details.